Stick with me as we go through my favorite craptastic and weird holiday specials. Number 7 is Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. Now, I put this one in here because even though it's craptastic, it's actually pretty entertaining. I have to admit, I like this movie. Watched the internet in the last 5 years, you know who Grumpy Cat is because he is a marketing force. And I still find him funny because I love cats. The thing about this movie is they took a woman named Aubrey Plaza, which does the voice. And to me, she sounds kind of like a young Roseanne Barr, which back when Roseanne was funny. So I actually liked it. Now, what's funny about this movie is it doesn't take itself serious at all. It's a Lifetime movie, and constantly Grumpy Cat just rips on Lifetime and what a crappy network they are and what a crappy movie it is. The whole thing, it just makes fun of itself why it's in there. So for that, I gotta respect it because it doesn't try to be something it's not. It's actually a really funny movie. If you catch it, yes, it's crappy, but it's very, very entertaining, and I give this one a thumbs up if you actually want to watch something you've never seen. Number 6, Nestor, the long-eared Christmas donkey. Wow. All right, let's talk about this. Because if you didn't know it, the people that make the cute little claymation movies are called Rankin Bass. Later on, they go and they do animated things like the original Hobbit, they did He-Man, the Thundercats, so you're probably familiar with Rankin Bass. And like the cute little Rudolph movie that everybody loves, Rankin Bass. What people forgot was that Rankin Bass tried many different holiday movies using claymation. And this one, I guess they decided to take a Christian spin because most of their stuff was very secular. You know, it was about Santa and reindeers and stuff. Well, this time they made one for the Christians. Let me start by saying you might as well give your kid some antidepressants, maybe some Prozac, a big box of Kleenexes, and plan on being depressed for the entire day after watching this children's Christmas special because it is so sad and it's pretty brutal to watch. This movie is about a donkey named Nestor who has giant ears when he's born. And just like they did with Rudolph, because Rankin Bass just pretty much recycles stuff, they tortured this poor donkey to horrible ends. This thing, for like 7/8 of the movie, this donkey is just tortured. There's psychological abuse. He cries, and then because people are making fun of his ears, and then people make fun of his ears again, that he, like new people he meets, and then he cries again. And then like he ends up getting thrown out, knocked out by the person that owns the stable because he's mad that he lost a sale because of his big ears. And he gets thrown out into the snow in this blizzard, and his mom goes and chases him. And basically to keep him alive, his mom sleeps on top of him and keeps him warm, but she dies. I guess it's kind of like Bambi in a way. And so this poor donkey, who's already just getting abused in the whole film, gets his mom killed in it. Merry Christmas! And then moves on, and he wanders like the land, and eventually like a cherub comes down and says that he has a special duty and God wants him to be this special donkey, and this cherub's going to lead him all the way to Bethlehem. So they go and they have some more adventures, and of course he gets made fun of more, like the camels are poking fun of him, and he cries again. Mary and Joseph show up, and Virgin Mary's pregnant with Jesus, and they need a donkey to ride to Bethlehem. So they get Nestor. And because he has giant ears, he can hear in this terrible storm, and he keeps baby Jesus warm by wrapping Mary with his ears. And so this donkey ends up being really important in being part of the nativity scene. So that's why there's a donkey in the nativity scene, because of Nestor, but of course it's never a long-eared donkey in your nativity scene. So they tried to like create kind of a Rudolph-esque Christmas special based on Jesus. Now, there's a lesson here that Rankin Bass seems to like to go to. It's like, if you're born with a mutation and everybody makes fun of you and ridicules you, that's okay, because if your mutation can be exploited and then be used for something good, everybody will like you again. So it's a very important lesson to teach kids that, Rudolph gets teased, but then his nose saves Christmas. Nestor's ears gets teased, but his ears save Jesus. And now everybody likes him. So if you can be useful to society, your mutation can be useful, then Merry Christmas. That's an important lesson to learn. The number 5th Craptastic movie is Ernest Saves Christmas. Now, if you don't know the Ernest movies, because, they were made in kind of the 80s and 90s, perhaps you're young and you're watching this and you don't know who Ernest is. It was a comedian named Jim Varney that kind of did like redneck humor. He was kind of our generation's Larry the Cable Guy, but better. I know that's a tough comparison. Don't beat me up in the comments, but that's kind of what it is. I'm trying to communicate to you youngins what it was like when we were young and we only had Jim Varney movies. So he made a series of successful movies called Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Scared Stupid, and he kind of did like holiday movies. So he does one where he saves Christmas, and it's actually really good. I just watched it again, and for a Christmas movie, it's pretty funny. Now, you got to like Jim Varney, and there's a kind of a little slapstick humor, but he is a taxi driver. He picks up Santa at the airport, and of course, Santa is there because he's aging out, and he has to pass the mantle of Santa to another Santa. So Santa arrives and tries to find someone to make the new Santa. Well, of course, there's some sort of mix-up, and Santa gets arrested, and Ernest gets his bag, his Christmas bag, and figures out he's really Santa. So the rest of the movie, Ernest is trying to save Santa and save Christmas. Now, for some reason, there's like this hot runaway girl that Jim Varney just picks up in a cab, and there's no backstory or anything. She just starts living with him and hanging out in his house. And they just never really address it. It's like, why do you have this teenage girl living with you who is a runaway, but Merry Christmas. So this weird topic and tensions in this movie, I don't know where they were going with this, and this character, some reason, is there. I guess they use her because she almost ruins Christmas and steals the bag, Santa's magic bag. So there's some really great scenes in this movie, actually. I really like the sequence where they ship the reindeer to the airport, and there's a whole storyline that goes on with that that's pretty funny. Also, they mix up Santa's name, and everybody calls him Santos, like he's the Mexican Santa Claus or something. And that's pretty amusing, too. I know that's kind of petty, but to this day, I still refer to Santa as Santos because of this movie. If you hadn't seen it, it's actually worth throwing in the pile and watching. Your kids would probably really like it. It was a lot of fun. It is crappy because it's a Ernest movie. You know, all he's going to do is say, "Hey, Vern," and make jokes about that. But for a Christmas movie, you've probably never seen it, and it's quite good. Number 4, Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special. That's right. I like this one so much, I actually own the DVD. Yeah, look at that. That's hardcore right there. This is a wonderful Christmas special that if you like Pee-wee at all, or you did when you were a kid, and you've never seen this, you need to stop what you're doing and go watch this. You wouldn't believe all the famous people that are in this special. At the time, you got to remember when this happened. Pee-wee's Playhouse was huge in the mid-'80s. And right at his peak, he puts this special on. So everybody's clamoring to be on this thing. And he gets people like Oprah. He gets Katie Lang, Whoopi Goldberg, Dinah Shore's in this. And she's actually really funny. And then you just got some strange ones, like Charo's in this, which I love Charo. I kind of a big fanboy Charo. If you've ever watched, you know I love Charo. Also, who shows up in this is like Little Richard and Grace Jones. So Grace Jones, probably the weirdest Christmas song you'll ever hear in your life. She like makes faces through the whole thing and is trying to be all new wave and shows up in this skin tight dress that's not very Christmassy. All the cast favorites are there too. You have Lawrence Fishburne as Cowboy Curtis. You have that girl who's kind of the slutty neighbor that comes over, Miss Yvonne, that she's wearing an awesome Christmas dress though. This is a great dress. And you also have Miss Renee, the Jewish lady that comes over and spies on him all the time. But what's interesting is there's a big reveal in this one that, did you know the dinosaurs that live in his wall were Jewish? Yeah, they come out in this and they're spinning the dreidel. So yeah, mazel tov to the dinosaurs. There's also lots of other great guests that I haven't even talked about. Like Magic Johnson's in this. He's a cousin to Magic Screen, so that's how he gets tied in. One of my favorite bits in this is when Annette and Frankie are forced to do slave labor for Pee-wee's Christmas cards. Also, William Marshall's in this. That's right, the guy that played Blackula, the king of cartoons. I don't even know how to explain this special. There is so much going on in this special, and there's so many great jokes that it's one of my all-time favorite Christmas specials, and I watch it every year. And what's interesting is that if you get the DVD, they actually have 2 different commentary tracks, so you can listen to the interviews, and they are really funny. Like the director's talking with Pee Wee Herman, and he's explaining like what it took to put the shots together and what the celebrities like when they showed up on set. It's really funny. So this is a great gift. The good news is a lot of this, I believe, is now on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you just watch the Christmas special. And also, I think it's all over YouTube still. They used to have clips of it everywhere. It's great. It's safe to watch with your kids. There's not an enormous amount of innuendo as in, as Pee-wee's Playhouse goes on, during his last season, it was pretty much written for adults. It got very racy. So, yeah, if you haven't watched it in a while, you might want to check that out. Pick this one up. You'll love it. My countdown is going to be continued because I wanted to bust this up into small parts and I wanted to be thorough. So I hope you're having a good time and laughing some, and I'll see you at the next part. It should just autoplay into it.